Hello, my name is Lee with Lesbian Speaking, and I am here today with Sisterwives, Season 19, Episode 19. Let's do this.
I am trying to collect all the documentation I need to explain to the lawyer what happened as far as the payment on the land, because I'm going to have to prove that it was really kind of our joint funds that paid the bulk of the property, and therefore we should be entitled to split it 4 ways, despite how it's really actually titled on the land.
How important is this? Janelle is getting that backup to show that, sure, Cody may have written a check for Coyote Pass, but where did that money come from? We all watched as all of the wives sold their houses and filtered the money in to get Robin's big house. And proving that should be really easy, especially because they talked about it on the show. I mean, this was very much talked about in public. But Janelle, she's got all the access to the bank information, and believe me, she plans to use it.
Owning a short-term rental is really a big deal in Moab.
Years ago, I would talk about wanting to get a B&D and theme each room.
I want a shrimp room. Everything's shrimp in there.
Like shrimp was an animal,
Yeah, like
or small.
like the fish, the cocktail shrimp you eat. Come on, it's called a shrimp room.
The thing is David's always spitting out ideas. And I think that sometimes he throws things out just to catch me off guard. Look, shrimp aren't cute, but I'm so grateful that David actually is this involved. So when David had the idea of doing this shrimp room, I was like, yes.
Okay, here we are. We are seeing the true difference in dynamic between Christine's relationship with Cody and Christine's relationship with David. You see, with Cody, everything was, no, that's not a good idea. What are you talking about? That is not a good idea. And with David, it's like, you want to try it? Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's go. And in return, Christine is having that same philosophy. You know what? It sounds weird, but hell, let's do it and see what happens. That is why this is an amazing relationship, and so good for the other wives to see that you too can have this with somebody who you match those interests with.
You thought that I would think you were kidding. I shut it down, huh?
Yeah, I thought so.
I support you, babe. Maybe also a giraffe room.
Giraffes are my favorite animal because they're awkward and graceful at the same time.
Awkward and graceful at the same time. Is that what she thought Cody might have been? Because he's just awkward. Yeah.
So Dad built them pretty soon after we moved in the houses in Vegas. Maybe 10 years.
Really?
Right after we bought the houses in Las Vegas in the cul-de-sac, I talked to my dad about making picnic tables for each house. We wanted them for each of the backyards for the family to gather and have more room to sit and visit. Anything my dad has ever made always means a lot to me.
So here we are. We're delving a little more into Robin's family and their existence in Las Vegas, which is really important. We'll get into that. But what I'm going to talk about now is they have all of these picnic tables. And they've had them for all these years and haven't refinished them yet. And now they're refinishing them after the rest of the family leaves. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, here's Robin continuously saying, I want this big family. I want this lived experience with everybody here. I want all of these people and all of these gatherings and everything. But we don't create the inviting spaces until they're gone. You know, why were we not doing these picnic tables, I don't know, during COVID? Would have been a great time, right? You take each picnic table and each family who's living in the household is in their section of the yard doing these picnic tables and then using them to actually spend time with each other. But that's not what Robin wanted. No, that would mean that she had an obligation to actually interact with people and be nice.
My dad's profession was a surveyor for the city of Las Vegas. So we brought him out there to kind of help do some surveying and looking at the different boundaries and different things. You know, my dad was the type to think about what a piece of land would do and like where the sun was coming, where the roads would come in.
I mean, come on. How else do you say We know exactly what piece of property we wanted to keep and what it might be worth without saying we know exactly what piece of property we wanted to keep and what it might be worth. Because literally that's what Robin is saying here. She had her dad come out and plan all of this in her favor. You notice that? Her name is on certain plots for a specific reason. Did they take those survey results from her father and present them to the entire family? I have no idea. But something in me kind of doubts it.
Were we besties? No. Meri and I still don't see each other. We aren't friends. We don't hang out. But there's no ill will there. There never has been. We just weren't really ever friends. I mean, and she really did, for a long time, sort of belonged what I considered the Cody, Robin, Meri camp. And I didn't really cross paths with her. There wasn't any real reason to. But there is now communication about what we need to do as far as the property.
Here's the thing with me and Janelle. We have known each other longer than I have known Cody. Janelle and I definitely have had our issues over the years. Janelle talked to Christine and Cody about not wanting me to have the piece of property by the pond.
I just worried that you'd get angry at one time like we all do. When we all lived in one house, you just slammed the doors. It's like,
Wow, Janelle.
I'm thinking, well, you might just be like, well, nobody can come over and use my part of the pond.
Okay, so let's recognize this. First off, it's not really a pond. It's like a water hole for drainage. I don't know what it is, but it collects mosquitoes. It really is not good for the Flagstaff area to keep sitting water like that. As a matter of fact, they push you to not have sitting water like that. So I don't know why everybody's pressing on keeping it so much. Maybe they didn't know, or maybe I'm overthinking things. I could be, because now I live in New Mexico and sitting water like that is not good because of the freaking mosquitoes. I hate them. Okay, let's back it up now, Lee. Back it up. The relationship between Janelle and Meri. Janelle's very honest. She says it wasn't bad. We just weren't great, which is true. I mean, they weren't there to build a friendship. They had the wrong idea in the marriage getting together, in that basically it was to create this family and not for the purpose of creating a loving family. I think they were young and just like, oh, this is how we make this happen. Okay, here's what we do. With that being said, the comment Janelle made about Meri slamming doors. Before people go judging that, I would caution, have you not ever slammed a door? Because I know I have. I absolutely have. If I felt my voice wasn't being heard, I felt like I was being talked over, I felt like I was being degraded, yelled at, the only means of communication I had at that point was physical communication, and I wasn't going to throw things or break things, and the only thing I could think to do was to slam a door. I can absolutely see that Meri would have been put into this position by Cody. Not only put into that position by Cody, but Cody loved to pin them against each other in order to keep the eyes off of him and what he was doing. That is a big thing that a narcissist does. So as long as they don't get along, they don't see that Cody might be, dipping into the family fund.
He acted like he had something going on, and then when we questioned him, he sort of backed down. So I don't know what's true.
He was like, well, I'll find the realtor and we'll sell it and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that you get to decide what we do with it. Sorry, you are not the head of my family.
That's important. No, Cody, you don't run us anymore. You're not the head of this family. So I'm going to step up and I'm going to take what it is that I am due, right? So very important. And the fact that Janelle is reaching out to Meri and helping her in order to work together to achieve what both of them are due is amazing and so important. So we can put all of the past aside because now we got to do business. Now let's talk about the fact that Cody is so busy doing something else or not answering the emails or just being wishy-washy about everything. Well, yeah, just like everything else that he has dealt with in these relationships and dynamics, if he just put things off long enough, they would just give in. He was used to that, very much used to that. We would see it happen time and time again throughout the years where it was just, oh, he didn't get to it, or oh, he didn't think it was the right thing to do and argue about it until it was caved in. And so many times the wives would not get what they wanted But then also that pinning against each other, right? Oh, Christine said that wasn't a good idea.
I feel like Cody and Robin probably have some plan of what they want to do and how they want to handle it. I think that Janelle has some sort of plan, and I know that I do as well. And none of us are talking to each other because none of us trust each other.
How huge is that statement? So here we are in the none of us trust each other world. And Janelle had made that comment that she felt like it was the Cody, Robin, and Meri team. And Christina said that as well. Meri says she felt like she was on nobody's team. And Robin and Cody, well, they don't think of anybody but themselves. So here we are with this true dynamic actually coming out that Robin and Cody were stringing Meri along with bullshit and lies. And I wholeheartedly believed that that meant they were stringing Meri along, saying that Christine said this or did this, and Janelle said this or did this in order to keep her in their favor. They fed her a shit ton of lies. That's how I see it. They had to have, because Meri stuck around and Meri believed whatever it is that she was hearing, even though we would see it on TV and say, girl, they really aren't that into you. And here she is, waking up and ready to fight the good fight. And I, for one, am loving it.
I feel like for quite a few years, I've just kind of sat back and just not wanted to ruffle feathers. So I haven't pushed the issue on many things. But I will push the issue now.
That's right. She's even adding to that, saying she didn't want to ruffle feathers. And hey, you know what? It's time to ruffle feathers. But when she would ruffle feathers, what would happen? She would get backlash. She would get absolute backlash. She would be labeled as the mean one, as the bitchy one, as the bossy one. And they would just sit there and talk shit about her and point out everything that was wrong with her whenever she was speaking up for herself.
We didn't pay for Coyote Pass all equally. I paid for an entire lot all by myself, at least 92% of it. The rest of the property
I'm sorry. Cody keeps saying, I paid for an entire lot for myself. I paid for an entire lot myself. I paid for an entire lot. Well, okay. Maybe like 92%. Next week's episode, 84%. Come on, dude. You know you didn't pay for it. You may have walked in and wrote a check. But where did that money come from to put into that account? Very important.
I remember when we bought the property asking about it, like, why is it that I am only on this property? And Cody had a big issue with the fact that I was questioning it. It's like, help me understand. But because I ask questions, I'm the problem.
So true. Going back into the narcissistic dynamic. If you question a narcissist on something they know they are wrong about, they know that they are screwing you over, they know that they are doing dirty, they will just turn you out to be the problem. The problem is you're questioning things. Why would you question something so logical? I mean, this makes so much sense, and here you are asking about it? How dare you? And then she feels small again. That's what they want to do. They want to make you feel small, so you just go, oh man, why am I questioning that? What's wrong with me that I don't just trust in the process?
I'm working on this. I'm not rushing, but I'm not your servant to boss around. You're wanting me to do something for you that you could do the footwork on, ladies, and I'm not that interested in doing it.
No, that is not true. Okay? They will do the paperwork. They will absolutely do the paperwork. All you have to do is sign it, Cody. That's all you have to do. The reality is they cannot move forward with doing all of this without Cody there because he put his name on each piece of the pie. They can't do it. And it's all owned, incorporated. They all have to go in on this and do it together. And Cody is the one who needs to move this process. If you want to put your name on shit, you have to take the responsibility for having your name on shit.
Let's just not go there, dear. That's just, I love Coyote Pass. I always have. It's hard to think of letting it go.
Robin and I haven't really synced up. We're in different places, and it's an in and out. It's like sometimes I want to keep it, sometimes I want to sell it. And Robin knows we need to sell it, but sometimes wants to keep it.
Let's just, yeah, let's not talk about that. Sorry, I shouldn't even brought it up. It's such a...
Okay, here we go again. Something serious needs to happen. A conversation needs to happen. Are we going to do this or are we going to do that? And Robin gets emotional about it so she doesn't have to deal with it. Okay? She's not getting emotional about it because she doesn't want to let this go. She's getting emotional about it because she doesn't want to deal with it. She doesn't want to do that. And then Cody also is wishy-washy about, I want to get rid of it. I don't want it. So what he's doing is, in order to make Robin's feelings easier, and in order for Cody's feelings to be easier, they are knowingly causing the suffering of other people. They know that. They know that these women need to cut those ties emotionally. It's been a year and a half since Meri left. They need to cut those ties emotionally and financially and let them move on. They know this and they don't care because they're like, I'm going through my own process over here. No. This is where you need to adult up, take care of business, think of others besides yourself. But they're incapable of doing that because the only feelings they can think of are their own.
Christine and I are still very mindful of trying to see each other and kind of connect. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Hey!
Oh, I didn't knock.
Huh?
I didn't knock. Is that okay? I never really cared much about the knocking. There were people in our family who did.
The knocking. Now let's talk about the knocking because there are similar beliefs about the knocking, but the reasons we'll get into that.
Robin's house, way too many rules. You'd have to knock on the door and wait for like someone to come to the door and answer it.
What I kind of asked everybody to do was like do an announcement knock because I get completely startled when someone is all of a sudden in my space.
Meri, I felt like you had to knock. My kids always felt like there were just so many rules at Meri's house. I've just always been the type that wanted a little bit of a knock as they were walking in. I don't know if I feel like walking around in the nude. I want to know that somebody's there, so maybe I shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta know these things.
Okay, let's talk about this knocking. First off, Janelle got used to people walking into the home. Okay, that was something she had to get used to, but she also got to get used to that while they were living in small quarters. Okay. Meri did like to have the knock, and she's very honest about why. I could be naked. I could be doing something that you don't want to see, so please don't do that. I've had to tell my own family members, don't just walk into my house. What if I have somebody over? What if I'm doing something that you don't want to walk into? Like, it's my house. I can do what I want to in it. Robin, though. Robin says, I get startled if somebody walks into the house. As if she lives alone. She doesn't live alone. People are coming and going into the house all the time, aren't they? Because she's got all these kids and this husband. So that sounds like a bullshit reason to me. And her saying that she just wanted a little knock and then come into the house, I believe what Christine says. I believe that she wanted to come to the door. Now, this to me shows the absolute absence of the family dynamic. Waiting for somebody to come to the door and open it does not show that they are invited members of the family or welcome into your home. This shows that they are guests and they're going to behave differently. That's with Robin's house. Now with Meri's house and having the different rules, let's get into that a little bit further. Because some of the kids, a couple of the kids specifically had said that Meri was mean, okay? Meri had rules. Meri had more strict rules in her home than the other homes, from what I understand. And that could be deemed as mean. On top of the fact that she was unhappy, being treated like a pawn in the game of this family dynamic, that she was being put down and belittled in order to get what they wanted out of her. This was a miserable person who had strict rules. So, yeah, the kids would favor her less than they did. Christine, who probably had a fun party house and had more laid back of a situation. And Janelle, when we first met them, I don't know if you remember, but they had writing on the wall. The kids were allowed to write sayings on the wall, which Meri, she would never have allowed them to write on the walls. These are things that they were able to do in one household and not the other. So I can get that Meri would seem unpleasant to children, but I could also get why she would have those rules, because I myself would have had those rules.
I never felt like I had much control over my own money because everybody was pulling from the same, which is great. We did that. We set our family up that way.
Yeah.
But like towards the end, it was just really hard. When we all first started, there was kind of like this thing. We weighed in on what bills should be paid, how we were going to pay, who got priority. And then the last several years, Cody would just take out funds and I don't know what for. And the money was just being spent. And lots of it.
I was a father to 18 and a husband to more than just Janelle. So we had a lot of places that money needed to go that weren't always Janelle's business. But Janelle was doing the bookkeeping, so some of the bills to be paid by all of us were supposed to be paid by her.
This is so important. The past few years, the money dynamic has changed. Well, what else has changed in the past few years? Yeah, you guessed it. You guessed it. And she's the one who happens to have the big house with all the paintings on the wall. And when you say it's none of Janelle's business where that money is going, fuck you. Yeah, it is. It's Janelle's business. It's Christine's business. It's Meri's business. All of them. It is their business where that money is going. And to say that he had 18 kids, I have 18 kids to take care of. You don't understand. They do understand. Because remember when Christine wanted to take her kids to go visit her father, and Cody was like, well, you better be saving your grocery money. Meanwhile, starting to spend money to make the other young and pretty and shy wife happy. Come on, man. Give me a break.
In the past 2 years, the only memories on this property are with me and Robin and our kids, and they're good memories.
You kind of just...
I mean, like in this moment, I'm like back to that place again. I don't want to sell it. Also knowing that Meri and Janelle want to sell it. It's not fair to Meri and Janelle, and that's not my intention, is to be unfair. My intention is just to not deal with it.
And again, once again, reaffirming the fact that he doesn't want to deal with it and is knowingly causing the hardships of other people because he doesn't want to deal with it. That's a narcissistic trait. I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to drag it out. I know this is uncomfortable for you, but we're talking about me here, not you.
I don't want to bash on polygamy.
You won't hurt my feelings.
People who decide that, I just don't think it works.
And here we are ending the episode with a really weird conversation about what kind of marriage do you want and how many kids do you want and all that when the girls haven't even been able to date and they're adults, which is so weird to me. I'm going to go to church because I want to meet boys. Boys? No, you're going to meet friends, not boys. Ew. They want to meet boys. Yeah, they want to do that. They're thinking about families because they want to do that. But you're like, oh, but you're so young and tender. Like, come on, let them go out and explore life a little bit. But what's more important here is the fact that how many of these kids have decided that they want to live polygamous lifestyles. Lifestyles? Maybe that's the wrong word. Maybe they want to live in polygamy. Well, none of them. None of the kids want to live in polygamy because they haven't seen a good side of it. Not just because of the TV show, but I mean, look at all these other relationships that we've seen fall apart within this dynamic. It doesn't seem to work well. It doesn't seem to work well because what it does is, number one, it tells the women, you're not allowed to have feelings. No. This whole jealousy thing, that's gross. No, for women, that's gross. For men, it's like strong and courageous, but for women, ew. But on top of that, people are taken advantage of. They know that. They know this. They know that Robin and Cody took advantage of the others. There's no way they don't know that. Because me as a kid, if I saw my mom living in a big house while the other mom was living in a trailer on the lot, I'd be like, this dynamic totally fucked up. I don't want to be the Janelle in this. We are seeing so much of the reality come out in Sister Wives this season, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that eyes are being opened, the reality is coming out, and the things that we have been saying, well, they're proven to be true. I'm not just crazy out of my mind pointing people out to be narcissists. They really do have those traits, and they really are doing these things. And I want everybody to understand that if you're going through something like this, where you're being taken advantage of emotionally, financially, that is abuse. You can get help. You can get out. First, seek a therapist. They can walk you through the motions. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Lesbian Speaking. Make sure and check me out on so many other platforms. With the disappearance of the one that I use the most, I have set up for so many others. Check out my link tree, and it could take you anywhere. If you've signed up for the platform, I bet you I'm there. Also, you could check me out on Etsy and eBay, LS Online Finds. Thank you, and have a great day, night, day, morning, whatever it is for you.